Hello, my name is Colton, and today I will be talking about the dystopia versus realism in the novel Red Clocks. So, as a quick summary, the second half of the novel Red Clocks starts off with the mender in jail awaiting her trial for medical malpractice and conspiracy to commit murder. The wife, Susan, continues to struggle with her marriage after having an affair, and the daughter, Maddie, attempts to receive an illegal abortion while also communicating with the biographer throughout the process. The biographer struggles with the looming reality of not becoming a mother, and we see an odd relationship between her and Maddie. The second half resolves in no conviction for Jen, a divorce for Susan, and the solution for Maddie's abortion. And we see how all of these women's stories start to interconnect and how there's some amount of light at the end of the tunnel. So my frame of focus today is how does the text position itself between dystopia and realism? And then what effects does this have on the themes throughout the novel? And then my guiding question is how does the relationship between dystopia and realism affect the mindset of the reader and make dystopia less or more convincing to a current reality? Today, my thesis is that the dystopia and realism used in the novel Red Clocks at times connects and other times disconnects the reader from the present moment. In the novel, the U.S. court system, the approach on unsafe abortions, and the consistency in the punishment for crimes committed all play into the connection with the reader and how they associate it with the current state. So the first way that we might actually see a disconnect with the reader from a current reality is the way the court system operates in the novel. And that's just because of the differences in the fairness of the justice system from their dystopia and our current reality. So there's a quote here from page 253, and this is coming from the judge who is convicting Jin. And he says, "I know that the facts will lead you to conclude beyond a reasonable doubt that Jin is guilty of the crime she has been charged with." And he is saying this to the jury at the moment. I just thought it was a very bold approach to tell the jury exactly what decision they should be making, when in a current reality, the judge would have to be unbiased. And then I also have a little bit later on here, the prosecutor asks Jin, "Are you a witch?" And her lawyer says objection, but the judge actually allows that. And I don't think that that type of language would be used in today's court system. Next, I'd like to talk about how a reader might actually make a connection from the dystopia to our current reality in terms of unsafe abortions. In the novel, there's a disturbing connection between dystopia and realism in the way that illegal abortions are performed and the risk to those who seek them. So I thought it was interesting to look back on a few of the texts we were reading, a few of the documentaries we were watching before, and seeing how the illegal abortion practices are very similar to how they are talked about in this dystopian novel. I've thrown in a quote here from page 264, and it's, "Clem knows a girl who got such a bad infection at this place in Seattle she had to get emergency surgery and almost died." So that is coming from Maddie, who is currently seeking a illegal abortion. And I think that there's a just kind of haunting connection between how the dystopia really highlights how illegal abortions were performed in the 70s and so on. Next, I'd like to talk about the consistency of the punishment for crimes in this dystopian novel and how it might disconnect the reader from a current reality. So in the novel, it is made pretty clear that the punishment for attempted abortion is very severe. However, when Maddie takes a trip or a attempted trip to Vancouver, she is confronted at the Pink Wall by Canadian authorities. And one of them actually lets her off and says, "I've got two daughters about your age. Let's say I've got a soft spot." So I thought this might be a little disconnecting because it didn't really follow the theme of the rest of the novel and kind of took us out of that severity for a brief moment. Just going along with that, I think that if this dystopia was current reality, there wouldn't be such bend in the rules when it comes to the punishment for illegal abortion. So going along with my presentation, I've created some guiding questions to open up discussion here. And those are, in what ways did the dystopia and realism connect or disconnect you with a current reality throughout the second half of the novel? My second one is, what are some connections you have made between the process in getting an illegal abortion in this dystopian novel and the process in other non-dystopian content covered in this class? And then my last question is, are there any parts of this dystopia that you fear may become or already are reality, specifically with the recent turnover of Roe v. Wade? Thank you for listening to my presentation today and taking the time. Have a great day, y'all.